Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am Hydron Mikulski, Chairman of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs and Chairman of this morning's symposium, the National Youth in Agriculture Symposium being held here inside the Northern Caribbean University Gymnatorium is now called to order. To intercede on our behalf for God's guidance and presence, we invite Reverend Paul Blake, Jr., who currently serves as the Public Relations Officer for the Island Advisory Council, which is an affiliate body of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs.
Thank you, sir. Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for the 4-H clubs that are being used to share the values of your creation with a range of young people. And we pray that you would draw each one close to yourself as they meet together for fellowship, fun, and to learn more about agriculture and the varied opportunities. Lord, we pray that you would use these youths to strengthen and encourage all those agricultural agencies so that they may grow. And Lord, for those youngsters who do not yet know about youth in agriculture and the 4-H clubs, we pray that based on the excitement we have, it would convict each one of them that they may come to the knowledge that they can change their community, their parish, their country, and world at large through the different opportunities and that agriculture provides. Protect them, we pray, from the wiles of the enemy who seek to undermine their trust in you, but rather equip them with the knowledge of who you are and the knowledge of your creation. May they grow in grace and become an effective witness to friends and family, not only in what they say, but in what they do, that they behave. Lord, we pray that many others will be encouraged to join the 4-H clubs so that they too may come to learn about the different things you have created for us to benefit. Through the Lord Jesus Christ and the work of him, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rev. Paul Blake, Jr., for the intercessory prayer. How are you feeling this morning? If you know that God is good, let me hear you say, God is good. God is good. And if you're happy to be here this morning, let me hear you say, God is good. God is good. Very good, very good, sounding great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I extend warm welcome to you all on behalf of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee, the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, and our parent ministry, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries. You have come from far and near to participate in this, our Youth in Agriculture Symposium. This symposium, ladies and gentlemen, is designed to increase the awareness of youths engaged in the study of agriculture or pursuing agricultural careers in related industries. This symposium is also designed to engage you regarding the myriad of available opportunities, as well as to facilitate your exposure to success stories in the sector. The Jamaica 4-H Club is driving an ad that is promoting young people as being agriculture smart, agri-smart. And this morning, I want to say to all of you that I happens to be the chairman of the Jamaica 4-H Club and I'm agri-smart. And I encourage you also to be agri-smart. And I'm sure that when we leave here this afternoon, we will not just be agri-smart, but we will be agri-smarter. Are you in agreement with me? I want for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from near and far, to avail yourselves and benefit from all the opportunities that will present themselves today. I know already we are agri-smart, as I said earlier. I trust that later, through availing ourselves and benefiting from the information that will be shared, we will be agri-smarter. We are privileged, ladies and gentlemen, to have some distinguished ladies and gentlemen here this morning, and they will be here with us throughout the course of this day. I want to especially recognize our Honorable Floyd Green, State Minister in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. Honorable Green, we welcome you in a special way to this, our National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. I also want to recognize Dr. Lincoln Edwards, who is the president of this great institution, the Northern Caribbean University. And you will understand when I say this great institution, because I am who I am because of Northern Caribbean University. I was fortunate, thank you, I was fortunate to have completed my first degree here and also my master's in educational administration. And that has prepared me, Dr. Edwards, to be the principal that I am today. I want to thank Northern Caribbean University and its lecturers, members of staff, for molding me into who I am today. So a special welcome to you, Dr. Edwards. I also want to welcome in a special way our Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Dr. Ronald Blake. We want to especially welcome you, sir. We have also Mrs. Yvonne Bignell from the Northern Caribbean University. We want to, of course, welcome in absentia Ms. Hyacinth Douglas from the UNDP. She is ill. Unfortunately, she will not be able to be with us today, but she was really looking forward to being with us today. Dr. Jermaine Gordon, we want to welcome you also. We want to welcome, I assume that our Minister Audley Shaw will be here soon. I want to recognize him and, of course, welcome him in absentia. And when he comes, we will do the formal recognition, of course. Mr. Joseph Small, Chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee, a special and warm welcome to you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, if I should single out the distinguished ladies and gentlemen here with us today, I will probably go on and on and on. And so at this time, I want to pause and welcome everyone, all the distinguished members, the distinguished participants, all the persons who are here to share with us this today. We want to welcome you in a special way. More so, I wish to extend a warm welcome to all the schools, all the institutions, all the agencies that are being represented here today. This symposium could not have been possible hadn't it been for you, because we couldn't have come here to present to ourselves as distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So we want to thank you for coming out. We want to thank you for responding in such a positive way. And we're really looking forward to interacting with you as we go throughout this day. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause as you welcome the persons who are here and the persons who are beside you. I want to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, just before we move into the greetings, I want to share with you that the Jamaica 4-H clubs, through our programs and activities, have created platforms for the new AgriSmart farmer. This is a farmer who will change the maladies of the sector by being, and I want you to listen carefully, one who is cognizant of the threats affecting the agricultural sector, one who is ready to embrace innovation and new technologies, a farmer who is open to exploring the concept of food diversification, a farmer who is appropriately equipped to operate a viable agribusiness, a youth who is trained, ready, and constantly keeping abreast of ways to combat climate change through appropriate mitigation practices. one who is cognizant of the threat affecting the agriculture sector, one who is ready to embrace innovation and new technologies, a farmer who is open to exploring the concepts of food diversification, a farmer who is appropriately equipped to operate a viable agribusiness, a youth who is trained, ready, and constantly keeping abreast of ways to combat climate change through appropriate mitigation practices. At this time, I wish for us to sit back, relax, and accept greetings from various individuals. To begin this section, I invite Mrs. Yvonne Bignall, Vice President, University Relations here at the Northern Caribbean University, to take charge.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Chairman, having recognized our special guests in such a fulsome way this morning, the pleasure is all mine to just express to you a warm greeting from Northern Caribbean University. We are just so delighted that you have ascended this hill to join us here this morning to be a part of this very special event. We greet you well. Northern Caribbean University has been on this spot for just now about 100 years. Yes, we've been here for 100 years, just commemorated that. It's been 100 years that we are on this campus. But we haven't always been known as Northern Caribbean University. Some of you may know us by our forerunner name, West Indies College. We are that same institution, and we are delighted when you choose to come here and be a part of and enjoy what we have up here on the hill. I'm very delighted today to present to you the head of our institution, the 24th president of this institution, in the person of Dr. Lincoln Paul Edwards, and he will bring you official greetings today from the university. Please help me welcome our president, Dr. Edwards.
Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Minister Floyd Green, ladies and gentlemen, students, a pleasant good morning. I am delighted on behalf of the administrators, students, and workers of NCU to welcome you all to the campus of Northern Caribbean University. We are always excited when we have our friends come and visit with us and to share with us here. These are exciting times to be involved in agriculture because of the transformations that are made possible through advancements in technology, including sensors, devices, machines, information technology. And I want us to know that today's agriculture routinely uses many sophisticated technologies, such as robotic technology, which enables more reliable monitoring and management of natural resources, such as air and water quality. It also produces greater control over plant and animal production, processing, distribution, and storage, which result in greater efficiencies, safer growing conditions, safer food, and reduced environmental and ecological problems. Global position and satellite technology has also been used in the development of autopilot sprayers and tractors that do not require any driver. And I believe students will find that quite nice. Such technology is important in agriculture because it promotes better and more efficient farming practices. Farmers therefore no longer have to apply water, fertilizers, and pesticides uniformly across entire fields, but instead they can use minimum quantities required and target very specific areas or treat individual plants differently. The production of bioenergy and bio-based products is valuable to the nation's ability to create new jobs and promote rural prosperity. This sort of bioeconomy reduces our dependence on non-renewable energy. Then there are crop sensor technology, which gives the opportunity to sense how the plants are actually feeling and subsequently help reduce the probability of leaching or surface runoff. So today, as you take a closer look and come to see agriculture as an economically viable and sustainable option for you, I am confident that you, our youths, will find solutions to the challenges that we face in the nation in 2020 and in the years to come. We know you can do it based on your theme, I am agri-smart. And because you are agri-smart, you will find the answers. We're confident because in 2017, a group of students at Northern Caribbean University recognized that the farmers were being affected by the beet armyworm. Farmers here in Jamaica, in Nigeria, and other countries. And those students developed a climate-friendly green technology that was able to destroy the beet armyworm. They had the worm being attracted to a receptor that is connected to an electrical circuit that then destroys it once it binds to that receptor. And because of that technology, they entered it into the international business model competition. And they won that competition, becoming the only university in the Caribbean, allowing NCU to be the only university in the Caribbean that has ever won the international business model competition. So I have every confidence that my Jamaican youth, yes, all of you seated before me today, and the army of your fellow youth who are not with us today, but are out there in the society, will make a difference and make agriculture reach heights not yet seen in Jamaica's history. You know technology, young people. You are agri-smart. You will find the answers. You will succeed. And so again, I say welcome to Northern Caribbean University. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Bignall, and thank you, Dr. Edwards. On your program, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see that we are to be hearing from the mayor of Mandeville at this time. Unfortunately, he's not here as yet. His representative is not here as yet, as he will not be able to make it in person. And also, Mrs. Hyacinth Douglas, the national coordinator, is ill, as I mentioned earlier. And so at this time, well, just before I invite Dr. Ronald Blake, the executive director of the Jamaica 4-H clubs, to provide us with his overview, or the overview of this symposium, I want to extend a special welcome to all our partners who are displaying products here inside this gymnatorium. I want to also, and you will understand with me, ladies and gentlemen, I happen to lead a school that is represented here. And there's no way I could go back to my school if I don't extend special welcome to my school. And so Homewood Technical High School in the house, we want to extend a special welcome to Homewood Technical High School. All right, thank you, Dr. Blake. It's your turn to provide us with the overview of this, our Youth in Agriculture Symposium. Let us welcome Dr. Ronald Blake to the podium.
Thank you, Chairman. You know, this moment for me has quite a bit of internal contradictions. Because as I listened to my chairman said that this is where he was made, I said, Chairman, quite some years ago, I remember standing here as a valedictorian when I received my PhD from this institution. And so for me, it's coming home Dr. Edwards, and it is always good to be here. I've seen quite a few persons who have helped to shape that direction when I did my exploration here. So I just want to say I'm counted among the many outcomes from this great institution. Chairman, Honorable Minister Green, Guest Speaker Dr. Jermaine Gordon, President of Northern Caribbean University, Vice President, President of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, Dr. Deslandes, Chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee, Mr. Joseph Small, Co-Chair, Mr. Garfield Ewart, and Director of Field Services of the 4-H Clubs. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished youth farmers and future farmers, greetings to you all. Today marks a very important day for agriculture in Jamaica. The partnership with Northern Caribbean University, the United Nations Small Grants Program, College of Agriculture, Science and Education, Jamaica Agricultural Society, RADA, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and Agriculture, Knox Community College, Hatras NTA, and the hundreds of 4-H clubs across the country remain strong and effective. Our attempt here today is to assemble hundreds of youth farmers, as well as future farmers, to have a frank but empowering conversation around key issues identified as the major hurdles to overcome for their entry into the agricultural sector. It is worthy to note that these hurdles, as outlined, are consistent with the views of technocrats and researchers across the industry. We are not here to lament the problems of the sector, but instead to flip these known problems around so we can see the hidden opportunities, the answers, and the tools available to us to fix these issues to the benefit of the sector for the next 100 years. Ladies and gentlemen, under the theme, I am Agri-Smart, there are 4 sub-themes and panels of our best youth minds under the watchful eyes of our industry leaders that will be explored today. The first panel will examine implications for climate change with emphasis on climate-smart agriculture, while panel 2 is assembled to examine the key adaptable technologies and innovations that will be significantly used to influence agricultural production and productivity. The third panel will examine many opportunities available for agricultural entrepreneurship and investments, while the fourth panel will look at professional development for the sector workforce from the perspective of right-sizing and appropriating agricultural training for the long-term needs of the sector. Isn't time for farmers in Jamaica to be licensed? 2 years ago, the 4-H Club was detained by the fact that variation in climate posed one of the biggest threats to food security. And so we embarked on a solution to retard the onset of these effects. As a result, we introduced the Food Diversification Program, while bolstering our awareness campaign, bearing in mind that the 4-H clubs is represented in almost all households in rural Jamaica. This was in addition to the rollout of our water harvesting systems and an ongoing educational campaign on how to utilize effective irrigation techniques. As practitioners, we are oftentimes approached by potential entrants who are concerned about the limited information available to them on the sector. They are oftentimes unaware of where to go, who to talk to, and what is available to facilitate their entrance into various aspects of the industry. And I must confess that I came to a eureka moment when I had a conversation late last year with my Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Honorable Floyd Green. And Minister Green said to me, Dr. Blake, where can we find in one place, probably one document, information pertaining to the sector that a youngster can take up and they can see how is it they can enter agricultural education? How can they enter agricultural entrepreneurship? Where can they get financing? Where can they get technical support? And I said, Minister, I'll come back to you. And I serve warning that shortly, Minister Green will launch a roadmap to agricultural success. A few copies are here for feedback, but that will be launched soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a youthful farmer population and a sector that accounts for 12% of youth employment. We have moved our tertiary output of trained agriculturalists to over 900. And this is significant, bearing in mind that, Mr. Small, when you and I were at College of Agriculture, in the entire country, there were not more than 120 agriculturalists being trained. Today, we are training in excess of 900. It is something, Minister, that is going to be right for the sector, because presently, just under 3% of our farmers have above secondary training in agriculture. And if we are going to fix agricultural productivity in a sustainable way, Minister, we should bring our tertiary farmers count anywhere between 5 and 6%, Michael Price. If we are to contribute significantly to GDP, we believe that youth farmers will be called upon to do that. There's a growing awareness that youth in agriculture is not only important to the future of the sector, but it is a key strategy that is presently being used across the world. And I just pause to recognize the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, a 4-H'er, Honorable Audley Shaw. The Ministry of Agriculture, Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries has 8 priority policies. The 2 first of these policies, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention, clearly indicates that the realization will be achieved through the Jamaica 4-H Club's Youth in Agriculture policy. It is against this background that I declare that youth in agriculture is not a distant concept far in the future, but is in fact a vision that is now being realized before our very eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare to you that youth in agriculture is the now. Youth in agriculture is not the future. Youth in agriculture is the now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Blake. It is important, the point on which you end. Youth in agriculture is the now. Youth in agriculture is the now. And we can identify with that in so many ways. But ladies and gentlemen, we must keep the program flowing. And so at this time, I will invite to the podium my very good friend, my batchmate when I was here at NCU. We debated a whole lot. I want to invite Councillor Mario Mitchell, who is representing his worship councillor, his worship mayor, Councillor Donovan Mitchell, Mayor of Mandeville.
Thank you very much, Mr. Masters of Ceremony, and my very good friend, as he said, my batchmate. We had many debates here on various national issues here in the Hall of the Halls of Northern Caribbean University. Honorable Minister Audley Shaw, Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Floyd Green, Junior Minister, Mr. or Dr. Ronald Blake, the head of the 4-H clubs, all other invited guests, agencies, students, teachers, parents, and faculty members from Northern Caribbean University. Pleasant good morning to you all. Good morning. Okay, I thought you were sleeping just there. It is indeed my pleasure to be here. My name is Mario Mitchell, and I'm the councillor of the Belfield Division in central Manchester, and I'm not the other Mitchell who is the mayor. I am much better good looking than him. But I can tell you, this is indeed one of my passions, and I'm happy the minister walked in just as I was about to speak. And Minister, in my first term as a councillor, I would have known from researchers at the UII that Manchester and St. Elizabeth, no offense to the other parishes that are here, and I know all 14 parishes are here, but Dr. Blake, you will back me up when I say Manchester, Minister Shaw is an MP in Manchester, and Minister Green is an MP in St. Elizabeth. I was told that at least 70% of the food produced in this island are produced by these two parishes. So we are happy to have you in Manchester, and just want to say welcome to Manchester and to this region of Jamaica, central Jamaica. But we are here on a very important occasion, and I am happy to be here. Myself being a youth advocate myself, and as the very first chairman of the National Youth Council, Minister Green would be happy to know in his former capacity, one of the things that we continue to do is to recognize youth in agriculture by establishing that one of the Prime Minister Youth Awards be given in agriculture. So we are fully aware, those of us in government, whether successive governments that are there, we are fully appreciative of what youth plays in there. And Dr. Blake, I'm happy for this event. I know that we have some work to do. We have to mix agriculture and technology together to get more youth involved. I'm happy. Those of us who would have traveled overseas, and Minister, about 2 months before you have this breakout of the coronavirus, I spent about 6 weeks in China. One of the most sought after things they talk about is our food and our agriculture. And we have something here that I know is fruitful and something that we know that we can ensure that we do our part to ensure that the young people becomes more involved. So Minister Shaw, I want to publicly thank you, sir, for providing myself and the Member of Parliament for Central Manchester with 2 farm roads that was recently done. And the people are very, very happy. So we are expecting some increase in yields from those 2 roads up in Banana Ground and Davidton. And we are happy to say thank you for the other 2 roads that you're going to give us for this upcoming financial year, for the farm roads. Because in the Banana Ground section, where we have 3 Olympians and we don't have a play field because it is such a hilly terrain, it's almost 2,000 meters above sea level, similar to the Blue Mountains. But we are able to produce from our food and our agriculture, Elaine Thompson and Nesta Carter and Natalia Gould, all from the hills of Belfield. So we look forward to ensuring that whatever we do, agriculture is at the forefront of what we do in the entire Manchester, and I would say broaden to St. Elizabeth and Jamaica on a whole. So young people, I encourage you to get involved, ensure that you get your training, because the business aspect of agriculture is not a big business. So I want to encourage you to continue on the path, and I want to congratulate you on being a part of the 4-H movement And I want to say I wish for you a successful day. This is my third meeting at after 11. So if I do leave before you finish, I have about 2 more before the day is out. And I want to recognize the president of the Northern Caribbean University and all other distinguished guests. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Welcome to Manchester. I hope you enjoy the climate. If you're cold, we have extra jackets in the cars or whatever. Mr. Shaw can lend you one of his, and I have some there because I know the ladies may not be used to this kind of lovely weather. So welcome to Manchester, and God bless you on a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mitchell. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so enjoying this symposium. I sat there and to me it feels like it's a family reunion because I can see family members from all parishes here. Being a member of the 4-H organization myself and you being associated with agriculture in some form, shape or form, I see Mario being a distant brother. I see President of the institution of Northern Caribbean University being an uncle. My father is in the audience. That's Honorable Audley Shaw. My brother, Floyd Green, is here, Minister Green. And I won't bother to do a comparison as it relates to who is more handsome because I know that I would win Floyd Green, of course. And of course, as I said, Ronald Blake, Dr. Blake is here also as another uncle. And so my kids are here, Homewood Technical High School, and also I'm adopting the students from other schools as my kids. So it's a big family reunion in the form of a symposium. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome to the podium at this time Honorable Minister Floyd Green, who will bring greetings to you all.
Thank you very much to our chairman, Mr. Hydran Mikulski, Minister Audley Shaw, President of NCU, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, other members of the NCU team, of course, Councillor Mitchell, other special invited guests, our Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs, Dr. Ronald Blake, and the entire 4-H Club team. Students, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everybody. Did you say good morning with a smile? Let's try it one more time. Good morning, everybody. Excellent. I am very happy to be here. I want you to give the 4-H Club a big, big round of applause for bringing us for the National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. Jamaica has the most talented youth in the world. Do you believe that? Jamaica has the most creative youth in the world. Do you believe that? Jamaica has the most innovative youth in the world. Do you believe that? And we know that the Jamaican youth, anything they put their mind to, they can achieve it. Oftentimes, they put their minds to seeking wealth, for looking brick, pawn, brick, pawn. Unfortunately, they often look the brick, pawn, brick in the wrong areas, utilizing the wrong strategies, not recognizing that if you really want brick, pawn, brick, the place to look is agriculture. You agree with me? And let me tell you the raw facts. Our tourism industry uses $40 billion of agricultural produce. You hear how much I say? How much? 40, not million, $40 billion. Is it that brick, palm brick, palm brick? We supply, I doubt we supply 20 to 30% of that 40 billion Jamaican dollars. So there is an opportunity, if you're serious about agriculture, to take a share of that pie. Do you know how much US dollars of agricultural imports comes into Jamaica? Make a guess. How much? 10 million? 100 million? $900 million of agricultural input is imported into our country. Meat, fish, and other agricultural produce. 900 million United States dollars. Isn't that brick upon brick? So what I hope you will get from here today is that all of you will decide how you will get a share of the agricultural pie. There are so many items that we're not producing anywhere near the demand in Jamaica. And you all should be thinking about how can you start your own little farm. Cassava, we can't get enough cassava. I have some young people, they just started the production of cheese. When they started the production of cheese, they used to do 20 pounds of cheese a week. They now do 90 pounds of cheese a week. And came to meet with me to say, please, Minister, can we get some more people into the cheese production because we cannot supply the market. I say to you, opportunities are out there in agriculture. At the ministry, we're going to help you. This year, we're looking to launch our Youth in Agriculture policy. We're also embarking on a Future Farmer program with the 4-H Club. And we also plan to launch in short order the roadmap for youth in agriculture. So you can have all the information about how you get involved in agriculture, how you get financing in one place. So I hope you enjoyed today. The minister is here and he has a lot to share with you. And let us remember, agriculture has changed now. So I don't want you to think of the farmer as the man in the dirty trousers who put on water boot and walk around with machete. The truth is, agriculture has passed that. I went to a farm, and you could even tell, he farmed strawberries. And he used a methodology called aquaponics. And he is able to farm in a 1/4 acre what you would farm in 4 acres. And him just go out in him little greenhouse. And if you know aquaponics, it's water, a water-based system. So all you do, there's no dirt involved. You just stick the strawberry thing in a little PVC pipe and the water run through it. And you go out and just pick your strawberries and you send them off. As he said to me, Mr. Green, me a hot boy a road, so can't dirty up my thing. Agriculture is different now. You have to get agri-smart. You have to get agri-what? Agri what? Listen, seek the brick on brick in the right way. Turn to agriculture. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Green. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for you to secure the brick upon brick that Minister just mentioned, you must be cognizant of the threats affecting the agricultural sector. You must be ready to embrace innovation and new technologies. You must be open to exploring the concept of food diversification. You must be equipped, appropriately equipped, to operate a viable agribusiness. And you must be ready and constantly keeping abreast of ways to combat climate change through appropriate mitigation practices. Brick upon brick. At this time, I wish to invite to the podium Janelle Robinson, a 4-H'er, who will be introducing our motivational speaker for this morning's session. Let us welcome Miss Janelle Robinson from the Bel Air High School as she comes to introduce our motivational speaker.
Chairman, Minister of Agriculture, Administrator, and other invited guests, a pleasant good morning to you all. Right. Reverend Dr. Jermaine D. Gordon was born in the rural community of Bull Bay, St. Andrew. From an early age, his love for music was evident and was developed at the Bull Bay New Testament Church, where he gave his life to the Lord at the age 16. He attended the Kingston College, where he studied business, and later he furthered his studies in becoming a chartered accountant, after which he joined the prestigious Association of Chartered Accountants. Today, Dr. Gordon is an international award-winning gospel minister and is fondly called the passionate psalmist and the modern-day hymn writer. His most popular and well-known song is Your God, as we know it, holy and righteous, which has won him 2 separate international awards and has over 3,500,000 views on YouTube. Dr. Gordon is an author, an innovator, and motivator, a positive communicator, an international worship leader, and a motivational speaker. In 2017, he resigned from his day job, an accountant, and his life is now committed to full-time ministry in the service to God and man. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Reverend Dr. Jermaine D. Gordon. Thank you.
Good morning. No, man, what kind of think agree. Good morning. I want you to do something for me. Turn to the person that you're seated beside and say this. If I didn't show up today, you would be the most amazing person here. Where are the amazing people? Come on, just wave at me. Wave at me. Some people still don't get it yet, so let me do something more. Did you realize how you were seated this morning? They put all the good-looking people on upstairs. Did you realize that? Oh my gosh, they organized this thing so well. Then they put all the better-looking people down here. Now, I want you to give yourself a round of applause for being here this morning. I greet you, Honorable Minister. I greet you. I greet you, Dr. Blake. And I greet you, my President. And all the distinguished guests, I greet you today. What an amazing time. I wanted to share 2 or 3 stories with you and then leave you. Is that good? That's good enough? I want you to imagine that you're in a setting just like this and your friend goes on his or her phone and you said, what are you doing on your phone? And they said to you, I'm checking on my farm. Or maybe another 5 minutes from now, they are still on their phone and you say, what are you doing now? And they say, well, I'm trying to turn on the sprinkler on my farm because the automated system is not working properly. Being what? Smart. Being what? And if I were to talk to you briefly, I want to say to you, think global, eat local. You like that? Say it with me. One more time. Let's say it again. Because some years ago, I had a vision. I had a vision where I was seeing the earth that we stand on, that we sit on, that we love so much. We play football and do stuff. The earth was fighting a battle. And the earth had to, it was coming under the attacks of bacteria and other kind of stuff that was trying to destroy it. And the earth created nutrients to combat some of the stuff that was attacking it. And it stayed alive during that process. And so farming is one of those things. And so we who live on the earth, the same earth, the bacteria that affects the earth, we are affected by it. And in order to live in that same locale, we must eat from that earth, that the nutrients that the earth creates helps us to keep alive. And so I saw that vision and I was like, wow, this is powerful. And then I went to research the royal family. Anybody know about the royal family? Yeah? Wave your hand up there if you know about the royal family. Good, I see that. Over there if you know about the royal family. So I went to research it and I said, how is it that we've never been told that the queen is sick? I've never read it anywhere that the queen is sick. And in my research, I realized that the queen, they grow everything they eat. They raise everything they eat. They have royal egg and royal cow. Fantastic. And so what is the message? It is important that if we are living in an area, local, that we begin to eat from it. And when I travel at different parts of the world as a singer, I said, what do you have that is grown here that I can eat and consume while I'm here? It is important. I want to tell you the story about the princess farmer. Once upon a time, there was this very powerful king. And he had a little girl. And the little girl liked playing in the dirt and planting stuff. And she was fascinated with how things grow. And as she grew older, she said, Daddy, you know, I want to be a farmer when I'm older. And that made her father very, very angry. Well, she became a teenager and she still had that desire in her. She still had that dream. Anybody ever had a dream? She still held on to that dream. And so when she became a young adult, she still wanted to be a farmer. And her father said to her, well, if you really want to be a farmer, you're going to have to be a farmer outside of this kingdom. I'm going to push you outside and make you realize how difficult things are outside. So he threw out his daughter. While she was out there, she started farming. And word got around to her father that, you know, her farm was looking so lush and so green and lovely. And the people in the kingdom were admiring it. So the father went to the god, so to speak. I think the god was called Indira. Went to the god and said, I need your help. My daughter is going into farming and she's a princess. And I need you to give her some trouble. The god says, okay, I will make a drought come upon the land. But the little girl, or the young lady, she had a spider as her friend. She had a bird, and she also had a cat as her friend. And so the parrot would fly around and hear the latest news and bring it back to her. So the parrot brought back the news that they were planning a drought. So she moved all her stuff and planted it right by the riverside, the riverbank. And when the drought came, the little girl's stuff all survived the drought and everything died. Everything else in the kingdom died. Daddy was still angry and he went back to the god and says, she's still flourishing. And so the god says, okay, I'm going to send a flood. And the parrot again heard the message, heard the news, and he brought back the news to the girl. And she planted all her stuff on top of the slope, the hillside. And when the flood came, the water just ran down and all her stuff was saved. Again, the god decided he wanted to do something. This time now, the god became angry. And he says, I'm going to send some birds to eat up all her produce. And they sent the birds, but the spiders made their cobweb and they created a net so the birds couldn't access the produce. And then finally he decided he was going to send some rats to eat up all her produce. And the cat called all his family and they just waited for the rats to come in and eat them up. But after this time now, everything had gotten so bad in the kingdom that all the people in the kingdom were now turning to the girl for food and for water. The father realized what he had done and he was repentant. He went to his daughter and he said, I'm sorry, my darling. I'm sorry for what I did. Will you please come back now? And she said, no, Dad, no, Daddy. There are more nobler things sometimes than living in a palace. And I want to say to you that sometimes you have your dreams and people might not believe in it, but you must press on. You must what? You must what? Tell your neighbor you must press on. It's important. And I'm going to tell you one final story before I go. I am particularly interested in, Minister, I am particularly interested in agro-processing. And so in preparing my presentation, I said, what can I prepare for the 4-Hers today? Can you read it from where you are? Anybody can read it? What it says? It's a reggae tea. Why? As I travel in different parts of the world, and people said to me, how is it that the Jamaicans run so good? They sing so well. They look so good. I sometimes let them know it's the stuff that we consume here in Jamaica. It's a whole Jamaican attitude. Jamaica is great. How many people believe that Jamaica is great? And so today's function is to help Jamaica to remain great by being agri-smart. And so when I get an opportunity, I say to them, sir, it's because of what I drink, my ginger tea, my cinnamon, my thyme, and my honey. And so I would like to one day become agri-smart like you and create my own reggae tea, which is a unique blend of ginger, cinnamon, thyme, and honey. And it soothes the throat and it relaxes both the mind and the body. You like that? I want to also say something to you, Minister, my friend. I want to see a Jamaica where housing development, there's a shift in it, where when we're going to make 1,000 or 500 homes, there's a 48-acre close to it, where the people from that community can now either lease the land and farm and service their needs. Or just as how or similar to how we make plazas and rent the shops to service the needs of the people living in the area, we can set it up. And so I want to just put that proposal on the table. And finally, I want to tell you a story about a tiny green frog. Think global, eat local. My friend Dr. Blake says, make sure before you're finished that everybody knows who you are. You know the music that I sing? But I didn't carry my singing voice today. I guess somewhere along the program I'll be called back to sing for you. Is that so? Maybe he wants me to sing now. Do you want me to sing now? Are you serious? And that suggestion, by the way, Minister, is called Farming Estate. Can I just tell you one final story before I sing? Okay, if I sing. I want to tell you the story about the tiny green frog. Everybody, show me your tiny finger, your baby finger. Yeah, that's not everybody. Everybody, show me your tiny green finger. That's still not everybody. Everybody, show me your tiny green finger. Okay. Tiny green finger. So I want to tell you the story about the tiny green frog. Can I get one of those remote? One day, a group of frogs decided they were going to have a race. One day, a group of frogs decided they were going to have a race to see who could make it to the top of the mountain first. And all the frogs in the community came out. Frogs on the left and frogs on the right. On your mark, get set, go. And they were running. And they were running. And they started running. And immediately the frogs on the left started shouting, no, stop, it's too difficult. You can't make it. And immediately frogs on the right started shouting as well. No! Stop! It's so difficult. You can't make it. What were they shouting? 1, 2, 3, 6. Stop! It's so difficult. You can't make it. What were they shouting? They said, stop! It's so difficult. You can't make it. But the frogs kept on running. They kept on running. And all the frogs, the Usain Bolt frogs, the Asafa frogs, the Shelley frogs fell out of the race. All except one tiny green frog made it to the top of the mountain. And everybody was surprised that this one tiny green frog made it to the top. And so they went over to interview the frog. And while they were interviewing the frog, they realized the frog was deaf. The frog couldn't hear. The frog couldn't hear the negative voices. The frog couldn't hear the name calling and the bullying, that you have a dream and it's not possible to become a farmer and to go into agriculture. The frog couldn't hear the nasty words that you're good for nothing like your mother, and you're going to be so good for nothing like... And I want to say to you today, 4-H, learn to shut out the negative voices every single day of your life. It's coming at you in the school. It's coming at you in your community. It's coming at you in your home. It's coming at you from your friends. Shut out the negative voices every single day of your life. And know the dream that God has placed in your heart. In more ways than one, I was like that tiny green frog. Because I couldn't play football, they say I had 2 left foot. And I didn't like the ball in the cricket, it was too hard. And so nobody wanted me on their team. But after a while, you know, Dr. Blake, I was a good goalkeeper. And so everybody wanted me to keep the goal. And what was quite interesting is that all those guys on the play field, just as how we have PEP now, we used to have GSAT. And before GSAT, we would have common entrance. I was the only one from the field that passed my common entrance. And so make sure you deliver where it matters most. Make sure you deliver where it matters most. And if agriculture is life, we must spend more time paying attention to it. If we can't feed ourselves, think about it. I want a portion of that 900 million US dollars that the minister spoke about a while. Don't you want a piece? Hello? Yeah. Why would we want to import what we already have? It's like taking sand to the beach. And so don't ever give up on your dream. Don't, like that princess farmer, don't give up on your dreams. Put your hands together for yourself. Every single day of your life, shut out the negative voices. And when you shut out those negative voices, you replace it with what the Word of God says. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do through... Yeah. How many of you believe that? Stand. If you believe that, stand. If you believe you are going to make a difference with what God has given you, you're not going to allow negative voices and negative ideas to overpower you. You are going to make a difference and an impact, not just on Jamaica, but the rest of the world. Because the world is waiting for Jamaica. Jamaica will one day heal the world through its herbs and spices and what we produce here. If you don't see it, I have seen it. Where people, hundreds of people will not just come here for our hotels, but they'll come because the healing is in Jamaica. Healing is in the beach. Healing is in the sand. Healing is in the food. Healing in the very water that we drink. And so I believe it. I want to just sing twice this song that you love so much. For the first time, some of you are meeting the singer. But I'm going to give you the opportunity to sing it with me. Are you ready? No, man, that doesn't sound like you're ready. Are you ready? Are you sure? Let me just tell you this quickly. Singing boosts the immune system. So I want you to sing. Okay? Let's try the song. With everything within me, I declare your glory. Yes, I mean. Are you ready to sing? Let's lift our voice. Let's say, you are... You're holy. I can't hear you. I can't hear you from up here. Come on, sing. Let's point our finger towards the heavens. Everybody, let's sing it now. You are God, we say. You. Oh, oh, oh. We say, yes, you are. Over St. Elizabeth, you are God. Over Manchester, you are God. And over Clarendon, we sing, you are Lord. You're holy. Yes, you are Lord. Over your future, that it shall remain bright, saying, you are Lord. You will live out all your days, and your lives will not be wasted. I call forth the genius that is in your belly to create and to be innovative and to find solutions for world hunger. Do this with me now, everybody. Sing, reigning King, reign. You're holy. Yes, he's a reigning King. One more time, declare it over the 4-H. Sing, reigning King, we say. You're holy. Yes, he's a reigning King. Lift your hands now, everybody. Let me bless this place. Father, we thank you. Thank you for this amazing opportunity to speak to the minds of the future, to inspire the future, to make a difference, not just locally, but globally, through agriculture, through being creative, through being agri-smart. We call for the genius that is in the heart and the minds and the bellies of each of these girls, these boys, these men, these women to arise. Everybody lift your voice and sing, you are God. You are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. One time now, without the music and without me, you sing it. Here we go. 2, 3. I want you to put your hands together for yourself. I bet you didn't know that you could sing so well. Give yourself a bigger round of applause than that. In closing, I want to commend, you may be seated, I want to commend the 4-H movement. And I'm happy to be partnering with you, Dr. Blake. The pleasure is all mine. And every chance I get, I'm in the schools speaking to the minds just the same, teaching the importance of going forward with your dreams and preserving that God-given dream. I speak to the minds concerning forgiveness. I speak to the minds concerning knowing the 5 main uses of money. In coming here, my 11-year-old son, I said, son, what is farming? And he says, Daddy, farming is when you have a lot of land, you plant a lot of crops on it, and you harvest it and sell it to the market at age 11. And then he says, but Daddy, there are times when you also employ persons to work on the farmland at age 11. And I'm sure you know more than that because he hasn't reached 4-H as yet. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Jermaine Gordon. Thank you for your words of motivation, your inspiration. Let us give him a round of applause again, ladies and gentlemen. My takeaway. Thank you. Thank you. My takeaway from Dr. Gordon's presentation is that it benefits you to go green. It benefits you to be that little green frog. I am a little green frog. And I'm encouraging you also to be a little green frog, because it is, based on what he shared, it was the green frog that was deaf and blocked out all the negatives that were being said about him that really succeeded. And so I want to encourage you not to be deaf, but to be selective in the things that are said. Be mindful of those persons who will discourage you from from achieving your dreams. Work towards the achievement of your dreams. The singing was great, and I'm very happy to have met you, sir. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we want to, Homo Technical High School is here, and so they will be coming to perform a cultural item, a piece for us at this, our national symposium. I invite them on the platform. Let us give them a round of applause while they set up for performance.
Number 12, you get that too?
mango crop. When the fruits them a ripe and drop, wash up and turn them down, mango time. We no drink coffee, tea, mango time. Hear how nice it may be, mango time. In the hands of the mango crop, when the fruits them a ripe and drop, wash up and turn them down, mango time.
Turbid time, large and fine, mango time.
Mango time.
Mango so sweet, mango time.
Mango time.
By the
mango so sweet, mango time. Mango sweet up ripe, banana mango sweet up sweet, potato mango sweet up ripe, banana mango sweet up. Balanceo, le balance, balanceo, le balance, oh them got me, banana mango sweet up sweet, oh them got me, balance, see them gala, balanceo, le balance, balanceo, le balance, oh them got me, sweet up sweet, banana mango sweet up sweet, oh them got me, balance, see them gala, oh them got me, sweet up sweet, banana mango sweet up sweet, oh them got me, balance, see them gala, oh them got me, oh see them gala, balance. Oh, them got me, balance, see them gala, shimala. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and don't let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and don't let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and don't let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want whiskey. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want beer. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want water. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want whiskey. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want beer. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe, and let him go.
For real. Real thing.
Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. The donkey want water. Hold him, Joe, the donkey want water. Hold him, Joe, the donkey want. Hold him, Joe, the donkey want. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. The donkey want water. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want whiskey. Hold him, Joe. The donkey want beer. Hold him, Joe. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and let him go. Tell me the month the donkey can break. 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 January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Ah, 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 ah.
Thank you. Thank you, Homo Technical High School, the blessed school on the hill. I could have introduced, ladies and gentlemen, I could have introduced the Homewood Choir as the Homewood 4-H Choir. On the keyboard is a 4-H'er, and many of the individuals who performed are 4-H members. Let us give it up for Homewood Technical High School Choir once again, the blessed school on the hill. I tell you, let me at this time introduce or invite Honorable Audley Shaw, CDMP, Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, to bring special greetings, special remarks to this, our National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. Let us stand, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome our minister to the platform and the podium. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hydran Mikulski, Chairman of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs and Principal of Homo Technical High School. Councillor Morris Mitchell, Mr. Dr. Ronald Blake, the Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs. My Minister, Floyd Green, had to go to another function, so he asked me to apologize for him leaving early. Dr. Lincoln Edwards, of the President of Northern Caribbean University. And of course, our motivational speaker, Reverend Dr. Jermaine Gordon. And he whispered to me, I want to tell you, don't tell anybody though, but he whispered to me that I used to inspire him with my speeches. So I really feel honored that I maybe had something to do with your superb presence in Jamaica today. Congratulations, Doctor. Our members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and for me, our special guests, our students. You are our special guests today, our students. And you know, I have a written text here. And before I read my text, it's not very long, so don't worry. But before I read my text, I have to say to you that all of this brings back memories for me. And I have to share it with you, students, because I think it is very important. I didn't know that one day I would become your Minister of Agriculture, among other things, right? But I want to tell you, I was just reflecting and looking at the dates. And guess what? I'm a past student of Homo Technical High School. And guess what? I graduated from Homewood Technical High School 50 years ago. Yeah. 50 years ago, at 17 years old, I graduated from Homewood Technical High School. At 17 years old. 50 years ago also, I ran my first election and lost it. I wanted to become Boy of the Year for the 4-H clubs. I lost that election. So I ran another election for National President of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. And I won that election. And yes, at 17 years old, I was the national president of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. I thought I would share that with you as an interesting little piece of background there, right? And I just want to say to you that I'm so happy to be here this morning, and I really want to congratulate Dr. Blake and his team. I want to congratulate Hydran, the chairman of the 4-H clubs. And when I asked him to chair the 4-H clubs, he quickly accepted. And as you know, he was with the Heart program before and decided to come to Homewood as principal. And by all standards of measurement, he's doing a fantastic job as principal of Homo Technical High School. But Dr. Blake, I have to thank you for this initiative. And I want to thank the United Nations program for supporting it and sponsoring this program as well. It is something that is well needed, and I'll just say a little bit more about that during the course of my presentation. Let's not forget that agriculture provides us with the food we eat, the clothes we wear, and even the fuel that provides energy for our lives. I believe that agriculture, rural development, and our youth are inextricably linked and connected. And a youth farmer who is well trained and amenable to technology is more likely to realize higher levels of production and productivity, thus contributing to further economic development. Can I tell you, students, that I used to help my father milk the cows, feed the pigs, plant Irish potato, and pick coffee right up the hill at Shudley near Christiana. That's where I was born and grew up. With the global population expected to increase to 9 billion people by 2050, 14% of which represents our young people, 15 to 24 years old. It is our young people who will become the innovators of tomorrow, feeding this growing world population while conserving our natural resources, our land, the air, and our water. For our young people to successfully participate in agriculture, access to information and education is crucial. It is within this context that I welcome this gathering as we educate our young people on the many opportunities that exist within this sector. And you know, the 4-H movement has this saying, the theme, I am agri-smart. It is time for us to get agri-smart. Because despite all the problems we have had in agriculture, there's a saying that in every crisis there's an opportunity. In every crisis there is a seed of greater benefit. So we have had the crisis of the declining sugar industry. What are we doing with that crisis? Where is the seed of greater benefit? Where is the opportunity? And guess what? The good news is the opportunities abound. Because everywhere a cane plant can grow, you know what else can grow there? Let me say it quickly and go back to my script. Guess what else can grow there? Orchard crops. Now we go to the supermarket. We're buying mango juice. We buy June plum juice. What else we buy? What are your juice? Remind me. Soursop juice, thank you very much. Prangonut juice. Yes, we even buy coconut water, some of it come from abroad. And guess what? Guess what? These juices are being processed here from imported puree. So they import mango puree, import soursop puree, import June plum puree, and pomegranate puree, and all of these things, without exception, can grow in orchards in Jamaica, same place where they can grow. And so I'm coming back to that because we are going to embrace that opportunity. We cannot continue to have idle lands and idle hands and import all the puree that we need to make the juice, when we can make a sweeter, nicer, better juice right here in Jamaica from what we grow right here in Jamaica. So with that background, we want agriculture to become a career of choice, where our young people will want to invest in business, become researchers, developing new varieties of produce, become innovators. At the ministry, our goal is to re-energize the sector, and we believe that our young people are integral to this transformation. We want to create an enabling environment where they can create new things and will feel empowered for full participation in the sector. Let me tell you something. The Prime Minister, when he asked me to leave the Ministry of Finance and to come to this ministry, plenty of people thought it was a demotion. I didn't think it was a demotion. Because in this ministry, he has combined the industry, commerce, agriculture, fisheries, and when he brought me in there, he didn't think that was enough, so he added investment. Investment as well. All of those things are combined, and they are fundamentally interconnected. So this is, for us, in Jamaica's history, this is a turning point for us, where in every crisis there's an opportunity. Every crisis there's a seed of greater benefit. We have to grab it, sow the seeds, nurture them, and genuinely move from poverty to prosperity. My God, may I tell you something? I went to Israel some months ago. Israel. And when you go there, remember now, Israel is surrounded, young people, students, listen to me carefully. Israel, in Israel, they are surrounded by deserts and enemies. Desert and enemies. They don't have the rainfall we have in Jamaica that God has given us. So they have to extract salt from seawater. Take out the salt out of the seawater and use that to irrigate their land. And when you drive out of the airport, you see orchard crops to the right, orchard crops to the left. Mangoes, pomegranate, June plum, all of them. Look into the hills, forestries, manicured, lands manicured, everything, melons, everything we produce here, they produce it and in larger quantities in Israel. And for far too long in Jamaica, we have the crisis of idle lands and idle hands. Cannot continue. So we are working currently is progressing in the development of a national youth in agriculture policy and implementation plan that will be implemented by the Jamaica 4-H clubs. This policy and implementation plan will seek to build a platform to address issues facing youth in agriculture and develop the right mix of policies and strategies that meet their needs and aspirations. Undoubtedly, your concerns, views, and ideas that you will express during the course of this symposium affecting the sector, as well as solutions expressed, will go a far way in informing aspects of this policy. And in that regard, this symposium comes at an opportune time. So among the areas to be included in the policy are agribusiness development and value addition, agro-entrepreneurship, agricultural education and training. And let me say something to you now, before I come down. Very important. Lots of things are happening. Opportunities abound. There are no shortages, by the way, of markets for what we can produce in Jamaica. We have the hotels. Far too long we have been bringing in the food on the plane importing the food to feed the tourists that we bring in. We must stop that. We must produce the things and feed them from locally produced things. CARICOM, they call it the Caribbean Common Market. They call it the single market and economy. Except, guess what? We are the single market. They sell to us. We are not selling to them. 15 countries we can sell things duty-free to. Most of those things they import from the United States and elsewhere. We need to get our act together and target the Caribbean Common Market, CARICOM. What's the third market? The diaspora. Jamaicans in England, in Canada, in the United States, they cry out for produce from Jamaica and can't get it. Diaspora. What's the next one? Specialized markets all over the world. Sophisticated markets where we can carve out niches in those markets and create things for those markets. We're not doing enough of that. And there's another market I want to share with you today. It's an exciting market. And the students are here, and I want to tell you this. When I went to the Food and Agriculture Show in Italy, in Rome, in June of last year, and you know I was in Rome, and you know I had my little roaming problem with the telephone, right? Right, well, when I went to Rome, I want to tell you, I was not roaming in Rome, okay? Just want to I just wanted to make everybody know that. I wasn't roaming in Rome. But what I can tell you is that coming out of that trip to Rome is our decision as a government to use examples of what they have in South America supported by the FAO. You know what them call it? A national homegrown school feeding program. In Jamaica, far too much of what we feed our children in schools is imported. We import genetically modified flour and other things and pack it up on our children's plates. And we can produce things in Jamaica that are nutritionally better for our children. God has given us all of these rights and privileges, and we cast them aside. So they have now sent a high-level gentleman to Jamaica. He's the former Deputy Minister of Agriculture of Brazil, now in Jamaica. And we are working on developing two major projects. A homegrown school feeding program that is not only going to create wealth in the minds of our children, but create wealth in the pockets of our small farmers across Jamaica who will be producing things for that school feeding program. And the second one is the development of a national fruit tree planting program across this island. So, ladies and gentlemen, in all of this, we have the private sector who are now ready to work with us in various respects. Mother farms, where large farmers will come, share technology with small farmers, give them guaranteed markets, and what you can't sell fresh, you process it. Example, process our own puree. Have our own mango orchards, June plum orchards, soursop orchards, and then create and produce our own puree and have our own juices that are locally produced right here in Jamaica. We have some major projects about to start. Mr. Michael Lee Chin himself, his family is right from Mandeville here. Michael Lee Chin, majority owner of National Commercial Bank. A Jamaican who went to Canada and made a success of himself in Canada. Now owns the NCB. You know what he wants now? He has taken over almost 3,000 acres of land at Innswood. And they are going to work using some of the same Israeli technology. Yes, one of the gentlemen that will be working on the project is from Israel. We're going to put in Israeli technology. You're going to see mango orchards, yes, soursop orchards, and melons and cantaloupes and all kinds of things, short-term crops combined with long-term crops. Then there's the Bernard Lodge project, which created a lot of controversy recently. But Cabinet has now finally approved the promulgation of the Bernard Lodge project, which is a 6,000 acres of land, most of it will remain in agriculture. But you are going to have housing, just like what my brother has asked for, that you have to have housing, you must have some land available where people can produce. That is the Bernard Lodge project, I can tell you that. So it's going to have housing, it's going to have agro-processing, and it's going to have marketing areas, but most of that 6,000 acres in Bernard Lodge will remain in agriculture. I can give you that assurance today. And so we have other people, exciting companies that want to get into the action. Grace Kennedy, who has a processing facility at Hounslow in St. Elizabeth, has now established a new processing center at Denby, right in the heart of the country. Then we are going to take the old AMC complex on Spanish Town Road and turn that into a modern agro-processing center. Because we're going to be producing more, so we must find outlets, not just for sale fresh, but for processed foods as well. Then we have the old National Meats in St. Anne, taken over by Richard Lake, called Lidford Logistics. He wants to work with farmers, everything they can produce, he wants to buy it into Lidford Logistics and sell to the hotels on the North Coast. He's arranging to get a big boat or ship to start shipping things into CARICOM as well. Big plans are ahead by Jamaican entrepreneurs. Right here in Williamsfield, we have a gentleman down there at Jam Processors. He's the largest exporters of yams and sweet potatoes right from here. 6 containers of yams per week right now. The Americans send and come down and do the fumigation right there at Williamsfield. And now he wants to move into agro-processing as well. So young people, time to get ready. We have taken, I'm told the president of the College of Agriculture might be here, but we have, and I welcome him, and I want to say that right now 15 students from the College of Agriculture are actually in Israel studying the Israeli agricultural technology. Next year we want to send 50 students to Israel to study agricultural technology in Israel. We are very, very serious that we cannot continue like this. We are too blessed to be so stressed. Right? And I want to share a couple more things before I go. Right in this parish, we have a gentleman who himself is from Israel. Yes. Mr. Hodara has a company called Isratech. You know what Isratech is producing now? Small drip irrigation systems for small farmers. 1/4 acre, 1/8 of an acre, drip lines, water drum to convey the water through the drip lines. And they have now agreed with me as minister that the typical package that costs about $30,000, they are prepared to take $10,000 off of it, working through my ministry, so we can get it to our farmers at a more reasonable rate. So that when you have drip irrigation going on, if rain not falling, drip irrigation is working, so you can have your increased agricultural productivity. Another project, down at Clarendon, when you're driving after you pass Juicy Patties, and you go over the train line, and when you look on the left, in fact, Joe Kitchen himself from Juicy is in charge of that one. You will see 3 greenhouses over there. Those greenhouses are from South Korea, and they are coming into Jamaica at less than half the cost of greenhouses that we can get from either United States or China. Coming in at less than half the cost of what you can get it from the United States or from China. And that's a project now, that's a pilot project that I want farmers to look at so that we can get into the whole area of concentrated agriculture through the business of greenhouses. And I don't want you to say, Mr. Shaw, I love greenhouse, because of the color green. You know what I mean? It's okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me wrap up by saying to you that the opportunities that exist are incredible. We have opportunities to export things to the United States. I'm in touch with the American ambassador, and they have been concerned that they say we're doing too much business with China. Yes, Prime Minister and I were in China last November, and I want to give the Americans the assurance that just like, do you know who are the two largest trading partners, one with the other? The United States and China, China and the United States. They are trading one another, making money with one another. What happened to us? Why we can't trade with everybody too? This is not geopolitical. This is investment and trade. And that's what it's about. And I want to give the ambassador of the United States the assurance. It's not geopolitical. Because everybody has already discarded communism and socialism. That's gone out the door already. What we're talking about now is capitalism and human development. That's what we're talking about. So I want to say to you, as you explore the theme, I am agri-smart, to seek to increase awareness among our young people, I look forward to the exciting solutions that will emanate from the discussions to combat climate change effects that are currently impacting our sector. Young people, 2020 has been designated International Year of Plant Health. I remember 2020 Vision 2, right? I encourage you to play your part in keeping our plants and trees healthy by becoming plant ambassadors. Plant health will not only help us end hunger and reduce poverty, but will also protect the environment and boost economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, I end by saying to you, my mother used to always teach me and my twin sister and other siblings to read the Bible. We have had our difficulties in Jamaica. Agriculture has had its challenges. But in the book of Job, it tells us, for there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, it will sprout again. And from the tender branch thereof, it shall not cease. Jamaica can sprout again. Jamaica will sprout again. And I applaud all of the organizers for the initiative and enterprise in putting this event together and bringing all our young people, our persons of the future, all of you here today so that you can be inspired that there in every crisis there is an opportunity. Let us embrace those opportunities. And yes, we can move from poverty to prosperity. In fact, guess what? We can accept a slogan of the opposition as well. Don't stop the progress. Don't stop the progress. Let's continue to move from poverty to prosperity. Good things are in the air. Unemployment has dropped in 4 years from 13.2% to 7.2%. Over 100,000 persons additional have gotten jobs in the Jamaican economy over the past 4 years. We are going in the right direction, and it is against that background I have pleasure in declaring officially this symposium open. May God bless all of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Shaw, for sharing with us, for inspiring us, and for helping us to create that pathway in our minds as to how it is that we will become agri-smart and lead meaningful lives. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to invite to the podium Mr. Joseph Small, who happens to be the chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee. Let us welcome Mr. Small to the podium at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege to stand here this afternoon to bring the vote of thanks. Can you join me in telling the Lord thanks for journeying mercies to and from this occasion? As Coffee would say, gratitude is a must. We want to thank the minister, the state minister, and all the other dignitaries that has graced us with their presence here today. But more so, I want to thank the students from far and wide that has journeyed to be with us, for me, in this momentous occasion. The 4-H Club, led by Dr. Blake and his able assistants in more ways than one, for putting on this wonderful occasion in conjunction with the National Youth in Agriculture Committee. The body of people from the 4-H, as I understand, has been tremendous in assisting youths throughout the years. And I dare say that Dr. Blake's comment that youth in agriculture is now is something I embrace wholeheartedly. I want to thank Reverend Blake for his prayer at the start, Mr. Mikulski for his able management of the proceedings, and to Mrs. Bignall and the president of NCU for being such good host to all the participants here today. Councillor Mitchell for bringing his greetings, as well as a very impressive performance by Reverend Jermaine Gordon. Hearing about that message, that little green frog that was able to block out the negatives. Us Jamaicans can do it. You, the students, you, the now, can do it. And we look forward to you doing it now. I want to thank the Homewood Choir for performing such a wonderful piece. It really took us on a journey, didn't it? Yes, it did. I want to thank them. Minister Shaw, you would have stood here, spoken many things. And I want to thank the media for helping Mr. Shaw to stay on track with these promises that he has made. We look forward to this prosperity that it will bring. And last but not least, I want to say to the media and all the friends of the 4-H movement, continue to journey on. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Small, Chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, sponsors, boys and girls, as we bring the curtains down on this section of the program, I want to say a big thanks. I want to thank you for being a good audience. You've been very receptive, you've been very supportive, very participative. I think at this point we are at the point of transitioning from agriculture at heart to becoming agri-smart. And so I want to join our chairman of the National Youth in Agriculture Committee, Mr. Small, in thanking the staff of the 4-H clubs, the volunteers, the clubites, the sponsors, board members who are here, colleague administrators from various schools, teachers who've accompanied the students here, executives of the various agencies and organizations, media staff here at the Northern Caribbean University, the security officers, all those persons who've come together and assist us in realizing a successful opening of this, our National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am humbled to have chaired this section of the program, and I'm really looking forward to the interaction that will take place, that will continue after this section. We have a number of institutions, organizations, agencies that are strategically positioned inside this gymnatorium. I implore you to visit the booth, interact with the persons there, gather as much information as you may as it relates to you becoming agri-smart. Agriculture is the future. You are the future. We are the future inside this room. And so I encourage you all to take advantage of the opportunities that are available here today. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend a big thank you for your support and for being here, for being a part of this wonderful and this monumental program, our National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. At this time, I turn over to Ms. Althea Mackenzie, who will provide you with the information, some information as to what happened hereafter. Well, this is not Ms. Mackenzie, but this is Ms. McCormack. And so Ms. McCormack will take over from here. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure serving you. It was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mikulski. All protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the media, a very good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. Okay. Now, the pleasure is mine to introduce our moderator for today's proceedings. Ms. Althea Mackenzie is a practitioner with 30 years' experience in broadcasting. The majority of these years have been spent at Power 106 FM and Music 99 FM, which are members of the RGR Gleaner Communications Group, where she's currently employed as programs coordinator. She's also the host of the early morning weekday talk show Farm Talk, and on Wednesdays 4-H in 5, as well as the Sunday morning program Power and Glory on Power 106 FM. A trained teacher by profession, Althea is a proud graduate of the Bethlehem Moravian College in Malvern, St. Elizabeth. Okay, I hear the Bethlehemites, if you will, in Malvern, St. Elizabeth, from which she holds a diploma in education. She currently serves as the Alumni Association representative on the college's board. She also holds a Bachelor of Education in English and a Master's in Adult and Continuing Education from the University of the West Indies, and that would be Mona. Althea's engagement with the University of the West Indies extends beyond academics as she's also a member of the critically acclaimed University Singers. So in other words, she can sing. Althea is an avid reader and a seamstress who enjoys gardening and craft. She's married with one daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Althea Mackenzie.
Cornwall, are you ready? The people don't know where you come from. Cornwall, those students who are from Cornwall, as in the county of Cornwall, are you ready? All right, so those persons who are from Middlesex, are you ready? Surrey, are you ready? No, sir. Surrey, you need to wheel and come again. Surrey, are you ready? No, something is going on up in here. All right, so let me try it another way. Are there schools that are in here from Kingston and St. Andrew? All right. Are there schools from Portland? Those who are from St. Thomas? All right, no St. Thomas. St. Catherine? Good job. St. Mary? St. Anne? Manchester? Well, that makes sense. Clarendon? Hanover? Westmoreland? Good showing, Westmoreland. Trelawney? Excellent. St. James? St. Elizabeth? Wonderful. All right, now that you have done that, students, get on your feet. Every student across that I can see, stand wherever it is that you are. Let me, while you're standing, say thanks to Carol McCormack for that wonderful introduction. And I must say how happy I am to be a part of these proceedings. The show that I host on Power 106 FM from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., if you are a farmer or you are going to be a farmer, there's no other show you need to listen to. That's the show for you. All right, students, I've asked you to stand because I'm a teacher at heart. Please put your hands up in the air for me. Put them up, way, way up. Turn to the left. Turn to the right. Stretch those hands forward. Stretch those hands backward. All right, and then I'm going to ask the question that I asked earlier when I started. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready to learn? Yes. Are you ready to become agriculturalists? Yes. Are you ready to ensure that the next generation that will follow you will have food to eat? Yes. Wonderful. You may now sit. Because we are running way behind time, so we're going to try to see how best we can do this so that we get out of here closer to the time that we should have originally. Minister Shaw still owes me a lot of conversations, sir, and the farmers wondering why I'm not talking to you. So we're going to have to set something up. I think once a month I want you to come in and have a conversation with us. But thank you very much for clearly inspiring the farmers across the length and breadth of the island. It's a very important job. All right, so we're moving into the session now where we're going to be having the panel discussions. And this is the way it is going to work. I have to consult my notes. You will notice if you have one of these programs, you all have one of these? All right, so this is my personal program. All right, I'm very privileged then. I feel honored. All right, so we have 4 panel discussions. We're going to have 2 now, and we're going to have 2 later. I noticed on this that we should have started at 11 o'clock, and those panel discussions should have taken us to 11:45. Now, if you're following the time, you know that we are way behind where we should be. So, rather than going for 45 minutes, I'm going to shave off 5 minutes off the sessions. Only 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. And the way it is going to work is that when you go to the area where, with the panelists, when you gather within the groups, The panelists will have each 5 minutes to present to the students, and then the other 20 minutes will be used to have conversation. This is not about the panelists. This is about the students. This is about the young people that we've brought in here today. We want to hear their voices. But let me just share a little bit of information with you about who is going to be doing those presentations. So the first panel, the first discussion that we're having, and I shouldn't say the first because two are going to be taking place at the same time. Opportunities in climate change and climate smart agriculture. The second is agricultural technology and innovation. All right? So two conversations taking place at the same time. I did promise that I would do some work. I see Carol McCormack, and I also see the executive director of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Can you both join me up here, please? You know, in my world, when people come in on stage, you clap them. Clap them. Can you take one of those microphones? You both take one of those microphones, because as a teacher, I believe in ensuring that if we're going to assign tasks to students, then students must know what they are to do. So, I'm not doing this by age, I promise you. I noticed on this, transitioning from agri at heart to becoming agri-smart. Your task, Dr. Blake, is to tell us, when you say agri at heart, what do you mean?
You know, agri at heart is a measure of that commitment, that always wanting to be. So presently, a number of our farmers and youth farmers just love agriculture because they are an outgrowth of the 4-H clubs. They have done agricultural science. They have been to CASE, NCU, or other tertiary, and they are practicing. But the truth is that, are they taking the smart approach? That, for me, is a heart approach.
So you are agri at heart first.
Yes.
I notice I'm being very careful.
Before today.
You were first agri at heart.
There you go.
And now you are?
Agri-smart.
Carol, who is an agri-smart person?
Okay, so an agri-smart farmer is a farmer, he or she, who is capable of adaptation to the various issues that are affecting them, capable of adjusting to these issues in terms of technology, in terms of education, in terms of innovation, and generally in terms of how to apply these to their respective businesses, whether it be crops, livestock, entrepreneurship, their respective enterprises. So in other words, that smart farmer who knows what is happening and how best to address it using advanced technology and innovation.
All right, so having gotten those explanations, let me see the hands of all those persons in here who are agri at heart. None of you? But if you're not agri at heart, then you can't be agri-smart. Let me see the hands of those persons who are agri at heart. Let me see the hands of those persons who want to be agri-smart. Boy, we have a lot of work to do.
We have some work to do.
We have a whole lot of work to do up in here. But thank you both. Very important for us to explain to the students exactly where we're going with this. So let me invite then the panelists from the first, well, I keep calling it first, but two of them are going to be taking place at the same time. Mrs. Senil Wilson-Graham, who is Chief Plant Quarantine Inspector, the Plant Quarantine Division. Mrs. Graham? Is Mrs. Graham here? All right. Khalil Brown, Animal Nutritionist. Ms. Shauna Brandon, Rural Specialist with AICA. Outside, I'm being told. David Lambert, agriculture teacher at the Porus High School in Manchester. And Eleanor Terrelong, the Jamaica Climate Change Youth Council. All right, so I'm not seeing all of my panelists for that first session. But session number 2, which speaks to agricultural technology, I'll be moderating that session. Role of innovation in agriculture. Do we have the representative from Imagination Farms? Not yet. Agriculture innovation, process technology adoption in a changing agriculture sector. I know Michael Barnett is here because I know him. He's Executive Director of New Horizons Engineering. Types of agriculture, technology and innovation. Mr. Paul Jackson, lecturer, NCU. Well, if Mr. Jackson not here, we have a problem. Is Mr. Jackson here? I know he's somewhere around the place. All right? Then we have young entrepreneurs providing agriculture technology solutions. Is Orville McFarlane here? Not seeing Orville. Prince Avery, I know he's here because I saw him earlier. He is Managing Director and General Manager of Growers' Choice Avery's Organic Fertilizer. All right, so he's waving to me from the corner. Carol is going to whisper something in my ear. Let me just hear what it is. All right, so I'm hearing Dalton Hastings, who is manager of the Plant Quarantine Division, will represent that division for the panel discussion. So this is the way it is going to work. Originally, I was told that the young people would volunteer to go wherever they want to go. But I was once a young person myself. So I happen to know that if I did that, everybody would stay in this air-conditioned room, right? So teachers, let me see teachers stand wherever you are. The teachers from the various schools who I imagine are sitting with the students, and I know that the schools would have assigned 2 teachers to come with the students. Can I see the teachers standing, please? Teachers, please stand wherever you are. All right, so the teachers are standing. This is the way we're going to do this discussion. Because I want when the students go back to school, they're able to speak about the different topics that were discussed. I'm going to ask teachers, you don't have to do it, there doesn't have to be any science about it. Half the students are going to stay for the discussion that is taking place in here. Half the students are going to go to the discussion that is taking place under the huge tent that is on the outside. It is up to you. You have 5 minutes to make that division. Those students who are going to be going to opportunities in climate change and climate smart agriculture, teachers, one of you will take them out now. And that is from all schools. All schools. Teachers, 5 minutes for you to make that division. Get half of the students out of the auditorium under the tent. Starting now. What's his title?
Well, he's also chairman of the...
Yes. The first workshop is taking place on the outside under the big tent. So those of you who are going to be participating in opportunities in climate change and climate smart agriculture, make your way to the tent now. And that means that the following panelists are going to be making their way to the tent as well. Dalton Hastings, Khalil Brown, Shauna Brandon, David Lambert, and Eleanor Terrelong. The moderator is going to be Mr. Ainsworth Riley, who is an agriculture business specialist with AICA. So that group, and I like how you're doing this very efficiently and making your way over to the area. Don't worry, students, for the second session, we're going to flip the script. So those of you who went outside first, you get to stay in AC for the second set. Is that fair? All right. So now, have we done all the divisions? You see, I'm a reasonable woman and I make exceptions. One teacher, some tiny tots, they get to stay in the AC. All right, so do we have all the panelists assembled? Is Mr. Riley on his way over to the section? Good. All right, so this is the way we're going to do it now. I know that you are locked into your seats, but I want to ask you to just move closer. Those of you who are now in here, come to the front. Move up. Do it quickly for me. All right, they look comfortable, Karen. Maybe I should make them stay. Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, since I'm staying in here, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I may have to split myself a little bit because part of my job is to assess what is happening with the other discussions as well. I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to invite Mr. Michael Barnett. Mike, as he is affectionately called, has worked and studied widely since leaving his alma mater, St. Jago High School. Anybody from St. Jago in here? Preferring to leave home at a tender age of 15. He has worked in Switzerland. In fact, he has worked in many places. But he holds a diploma of higher education in engineering and industrial business studies from the University of Leicester, and among a whole host of other things that you probably have to ask him when you see him, because we're trying to make up time. Mr. Barnett, please come up, and you make Mr. Barnett feel welcome. Put your hands together for him. Paul Jackson is a category winner in the National Innovation Awards for 2016. Yes, he holds a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Technology. He received the 2016 award for his invention, environment-focused recycling machine. And he said that he had this idea for approximately 2 years and started working on it in 2014. Where's Mr. Jackson? All right, apparently on the outside. Anybody who knows Mr. Jackson, please tell him that we're waiting for him on the inside. Joseph Small. Is Mr. Small in here? Okay. I'm told that you're supposed to be with me. That's what I was told. But you can clear that up. You can speak to them, and if you're not supposed to be with me, I might have to flip a coin to see whether or not you stay. All right, so he is an experienced group manager for quality, safety, and environmental systems with a demonstrated history of best results working in the food production industry. And then I think those are the names that I have for my panel discussion, so please join me up here. I'm feeling as if we're a little bit far apart. I do like to have persons a little bit closer to me. And then I'm not leaving you out Prince Avery, don't think so. Prince Avery, who I'm very familiar with, please join me up here as well. He is Managing Director and General Manager of Growers' Choice Avery's Organic Fertilizer. He is also, I think, a third-generation farmer, and he has farming in his DNA. I know that the business that he now operates, he took over from his father, and boy, has he been moving it to places. Put your hands together for the panelists. Put your hands together for the panelists. All right, so as I said, the way that this will work, I'm going to allow each panelist to make a 5-minute presentation. The rest of the time, we're going to spend poring over what it is that they have told us. And then we are going to have a little conversation, a little discussion about it. Does that work for you? All right. So as we transition from agri at heart to becoming agri-smart, it becomes critical to recognize that with the increased number of young persons becoming attracted to and engaged in the sector, it is expected that agricultural productivity and production should realize exponential growth. This is anticipated on the premise that youth-owned farms are more likely to embrace and involve the use of technology, innovation, and agricultural best practices. So the first presentation is going to come from Joseph Small, who is chairman also of the Youth in Agriculture Committee, and he's representing today Imagination Farms and the CB Group. So this is a gentleman who on his bald head is wearing many hats. Right, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome to the lectern, Joseph Small.
Good afternoon once again. It is indeed a pleasure to once again interact with you as we talk about the topic at hand. Just a little background. I'm trained as an agriculturalist. I'm trained in business management as well. And I have many other skills in quality management and so on. But we're talking about moving from agri at heart to being agri-smart. And that's an interesting topic. Why do I say that? Food security, food safety is a very important aspect of being an agri-smart person. We're hearing about various disease conditions that are emerging, some of which are caused by foodborne illnesses. So we have to be very mindful about the quality of food that we consume, be it in the livestock production system or in the crop production system. At Imagination Farms, for example, we are producers of crops. And in producing crops, if you are to ensure that those crops are safe and healthy and can feed this population and by extension feed other persons in the region and the world, it has to be produced under a system that can meet international standards. In saying that, Imagination Farms is one of the few farms in Jamaica that has been certified to a global food safety initiative standard. In particular, a food safety standard called Global GAP. This is where you have to ensure that your tasks, your activities, your processes, and indeed your systems are designed in a way for full transparency into what happens at each segment of the system. You're also able to trace your products from the input side all through your processes and systems and until it reaches your first customer. You're able to trace it. So labeling and traceability, as well as transparency, has become a very big imperative in the marketplace today. One of the things you will hear emerging in an agri-smart environment is that any human being with a smartphone can go to a supermarket, a place of business, they can scan your label and get information about where was it produced, who is the producer, and by extension, if there was an issue with that food, you, the producer, would be at risk and could be fingered in this emerging environment of what we call legal issues that could arise. I'm sorry about that. So those are aspects of being an agri-smart producer that you have to bear in mind. Your method of harvesting, your method of growing, your method of planting, and even determining what location is best for you to place what crop to give you the best productivity is part of the thing that you have to use as an input in determining what plant you plant in the specific area and what yield you're expecting and how you can actually assure that those yields are actually achieved and ultimately the profitability of that business is actually ensured so that we can have continued investment in those businesses. Another thing to note is that being agri-smart, one has to do training and development of their people. So at Imagination Farms, for example, we are engaged in numerous training programs, be it externally with agencies and institutions that will train our people, or be it internally. So you have to have, for example, a training matrix that determines each job requirement, the type of training that is given, who is to provide that training, and then ultimately to make sure that training is delivered. Some of which will be for new technology, new information. Others might well be refresher that one has to get in doing their particular task on any given day. Another important thing I'd suggest is that we're moving away from being agri at heart by just planting some things and reaping. But you're looking at the entire supply chain. So you're doing a supply chain approach, and in that, Imagination Farms includes a lot of contract farming and is expected to expand and to grow. And ultimately, one or two of you, or even more hopefully, will become a part of a system like that where you will grow the plants and you don't worry about the market because the market is assured through this supply chain system that encourages different aspects to be controlled in a way that we can deliver the food securely and safely to the persons who are to consume it. Other very important things to do, for example, is to be ahead or abreast of the new developments, whether they are in science and technology or just in climate change. Be aware of temperature changes, be aware of the different threats from the environment that can impact your food system and causes your food system to not be able to deliver food to the population. So one has to be engaged in, for example, monitoring your weather, using, for example, a weather station, monitoring your global perspectives, be it you're in a geographic region. Are there temperature changes occurring in your environment that could ultimately impact your food system? And to even get involved into protected agriculture rather than the traditional in-the-field agriculture where you can manage your climate better. An important parallel is that the broiler production system is now being modeled in the crop production system. And we would have seen how good Jamaica has become in their broiler production system. And we're hoping that Imagination and any other farm so designed can better impact the food system from a crop perspective to assure the reliability, sustainability, security, and food safety of the crop system, and ultimately give nutritious food to our people. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so he's a reasonably good student. Took a little bit longer than 5 minutes, but that's fine. You know why that's fine? Because there are only 3 of them up here when there should be 4, right? So instead of 5 minutes, he got 7 minutes. And 3 sevens are what? Right. So we'd be just 1 minute off in terms of our time. But put your hands together for Mr. Small. I've made my notes. I'm not going to comment on what he said because we have to use our time efficiently. I'm a radio person. You can't be late for radio. My show starts at 5 o'clock. The show is on air at 5 o'clock. I have to be there to ensure the show starts. So we're keeping to the time. And besides that, we have another session that comes up a little later on. So we have to make sure we're using the time efficiently. Ladies and gentlemen, the next person that I'm going to call up is Mr. Prince Avery. He is, as I said, a gentleman who has farming in his DNA. And I have watched him take over the business from his father. And he has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job with it. Put your hands together and welcome Prince Avery.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, or I should say young ladies and gentlemen. Happy to be here at NCU. Thank you. I'm happy to be here at NCU. It's a great pleasure to be here. As it relates to agriculture on the whole, we have to focus on new technology to advance the industry. If we don't look on the new technology and continue doing the old method of farming, we won't advance. The only way we're going to advance is for us to look into new technologies, to evolve into a new era. I think that we have to also pattern, as Minister Shaw had indicated, Israel, Europe, also in America as well too, of the technologies that they use, and see how best we can implement to have it here in Jamaica, and also to see how best we can advance those technologies to make it more sustainable for us and our culture on the whole. I see a lot of students that are very much interested in agriculture, and it warms my heart, because the backbone of Jamaica is, through agriculture, and the only way for us to evolve is really, seeing how best we can work together as one. For example, we have so many idle lands that are in Jamaica that we can utilize, as Minister Shaw had indicated. We can look into the orchard. They're doing orchard farming, and it's something that we should really look into. We can be diverse, not just with cash crops or sugarcane, but we can be diverse as a country, where we can also export to other CARICOM islands in the Caribbean. We also have drone technology that we can look into, which will be able to fertilize, because you have liquid fertilization programs that are out there. So there's so many things that we can do as an island, and I should say that we all have to teach one another, because there are certain farmers that would know of certain technology and they keep it to themselves. Where it could actually advance the country if we should all share that technology with others. And it's something that is a passion of mine. I'm really happy to be here. Is like I'm fulfilling my dream, and I thank God for that. Without God, I wouldn't be here. And we have to all acknowledge that. I don't have anything more to say. I'm a bit nervous as the young lady that was here earlier this evening. But I'm pretty sure everyone gets the point, and I hope that I drove that information correctly. Thank you for having me. Take care.
All right, Prince Avery there. And one of the things that you will learn from me is that I want you to be able to show people appreciation. So put your hands together for Mr. Avery once again. Now, one of the things that I want to be able to do is to eyeball more people. Some of you who are flanking us, there are seats, lots of them down here. The teachers, if you can assist us in moving them a little bit closer, that would certainly help us. Put your hands together for Prince Avery. And by the way, I want to remind you as well that you need to be making notes, because we are going to be asking you questions. You better make sure that when I come down there on the floor with the microphone, you have an answer. All right? You're taking notes? Let me see the hands of those persons who are taking notes. All right, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome now Mr. Michael Barnett from New Horizons. Put your hands together for him.
All right, thank you, Alcia. Good afternoon, everybody. As you know, they give me this slot right in front of lunchtime, and I know everybody's hungry, right? So I'm going to try and keep it short and spicy. I actually run an organization, a youth organization that trains at-risk youth in engineering skills. And at the age of about 15, I actually ran away from home. I went to live on a cattle farm and I learned or began to learn a whole lot of stuff in agriculture from that standpoint. So there might be somebody here who, you too, agriculture might be your salvation. If I didn't leave home at that time, I can tell you for a fact that I would not be the person I am today. So I actually embrace and thank agriculture for having saved me from what could have been a very terrible outcome. I'm asked today, and I should back up and say, because of that ability to have left and to have transformed my mind at the time, I believe God used that to bring me, same one, to come and lead an organization that deals with at-risk youth. So, believe it or not, when I'm dealing with somebody that the world has discarded, I can actually relate to them because I can actually get in the headspace. I know what it feels like, been there, done that. I'm actually asked today to speak on technology adoption. You might say, okay, how does that happen? You see, because I've always felt a little different. And when I thought about speaking to a group of young people today about technology and embracing it and adopting it and so on, I realized that oftentimes young people, and I know I'm speaking to somebody today, right? You may feel a little different and you might think, well, what does agriculture have to do and what does it have to do moreover with me, right? And how do I adopt it? Well, I can say this to you. I've always felt different. I've always felt, unusual. I've always, in some regards, felt unaccepted, right? And you might wonder, well, what does that have to do with technology? You see, because if you're not unafraid of being different, you won't adopt technology. And I heard the minister say earlier something that is very, very, very important. He says he is looking for young people that are amenable to technology. What that says to me is that you have to be open-minded to technological advancement and change. You have to be open and willing to be trained and adopt new things. Right? After living at the farm, I got the opportunity to get trained overseas in engineering, and so I went to do electromechanical engineering. So many of the youth that I train, I actually train them to think out of the box, because that's how I am. I think out of the box. Let us think that all things technological start with an idea, right? It starts with an idea. God had an idea. He had this idea about light, and he said, let there be light. So you must first have an idea. How are you going to use that idea to make something better? Many of you listening to me have an idea, but you might feel nobody's listening to me. The first idea I ever had at about age 4 was to make a little biodigester with a paint pan. And I never understood until I was 20 odd years old why no methane would ever be produced with rabbit manure, and without sealing those pipes. I just figured it would make biogas and I'd be, considered. No, it doesn't happen that way. You must be willing to make mistakes. There's a phase of experimentation. You may have to do what I did with a paint pan. I didn't have any better at the time, right? So you do what is called a prototype. You build a prototype. You try your idea, right? You might have to do what is very easy for you to do now. We didn't have that in my time. We had to go out to the library and go and look in an encyclopedia. Nowadays, it's just Google. So you have to do what is called R&D, a little bit of R&D. Then you check your results. And you try and figure out if you can make that better and see where the mistakes are. As those ideas become better, you can then look to patenting or securing that idea, because you don't want anybody to take it away from you. Right? And there is opportunity in Jamaica. There is an office called the Jamaica Intellectual Properties Office that can help you patent your ideas. Right? And there is in Jamaica enough agencies that will help you to secure that intellectual property, right? You might be asking, I try to bring it to a wrap. What could Mr. Barnett be talking about? You could help to develop machinery that is making a farm more productive. I want to also say that the minister said that he went to Israel and he had talks with them, and they are developing a big farm. Can I tell you? The organization that I work for has already earned the first $700,000 developing 2 machines that those Israelis came to Jamaica, looked at the farm and said, well, we don't have this machine, but there's a machine out in the desert that we have only a picture of it. Can you build it? And myself and my guys built that machine. It's on my lawn right now, ready for pickup by those Israelis that Minister spoke about. So I'm already one of those. I can already testify that our organization has made money, $700,000 already from what he spoke. So what he said is just not empty words. I want to undergird his statements, right? It might be biotechnology. I was saying to Mr. Avery here that I built a reactor and I used, for example, bacteria, fungi, and spores that eat bamboo to eat some tough grass down in St. Catherine. Because if that bacteria can eat the tough bamboo, it must can eat some soft grass and some compost, right? And within 3 weeks, I had black rich compost, right? I am looking for a student that can take that idea and take it further. It might be biotechnology. It might be something mechanical. It might be something chemical. You might come up with a chemical idea that if you use these chemicals in this way, it could help to boost Jamaican economy. It might be an innovation in agronomics, meaning that you just change something about how you operate. Tell people to wash their hands before they go into the field, and you stop the tobacco mosaic virus, because the tobacco mosaic virus can be on your fingers just from smoking a cigarette. So just by changing a practice, you could save an industry billions of dollars, right? And it could be something biological. Some of you, as you say, you don't like getting yourself dirty, but there's technology that you can do in the biology lab as well, or the chemistry lab, right? Not to mention, and I'll close on this, the computer lab. A lot of the development that we do right now has been done with computers. I must thank Digicel Foundation for gifting us with a plasma cutting machine that's computer driven. It's robotic. So we can now take a picture with your smartphone, and you can translate that into a computer-aided design or a drawing. And then within minutes, burn that part out, up to 1-inch thick plate steel. And then within the hour, be installing it back on a machine that was broken down in the field. So when we talk about technology and agri-smart and agriculture, young people, please don't be limited to think it's just, as it was said earlier, a man with water boots and a machete. It can be in the area of chemistry. It could be in the area of biotechnology. It could be in the area of mechanical engineering. I trained a young man. I had the pleasure of training a young man who designs and draws things using AutoCAD, using a drawing package. Think about it. He can draw it here in Jamaica and sell that drawing to somebody experiencing a challenge in Africa, and they can load it on their machine and cut the solution designed in Jamaica, and he's collecting hard US dollars right now. He's so advanced that he's taken it to a level that not even I have reached, who trained him originally. And he's earning hard cash over the internet, using drawing, just drawing, right? And of course you can draw under a tree, you can go to the beach and draw, right? And be earning money. So when you think about adaptation of technology, please remember this, think out of the box and be agri-smart. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barnett. And let me just acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Barnett, who is sitting in front of me. So if you see her, you're wondering what the filming was all about. Well, she was filming her husband. And I'll let you know a little secret. A few years ago, when I was doing my master's degree, I actually had to go to their establishment to focus on the work that they were doing. And they were just finding out for the first time today that I actually got an A on that paper. And I thank them so very much for the influence. So put your hands together once again for Mr. Barnett. Now, I'm going to introduce to you a fourth panelist, young lady, Tajik Adams, who is a student at the Guys Hill High School, and she actually won the Climate Smart Technology Competition at Denby 2019. Please put your hands together and welcome Tajik.
Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. I was a little surprised. Hold on, Tajik. I was a little surprised they asked me to do this because I'm very nervous, as you can see. I entered the Climate Smart Technology competition along with some of my team members, which is no longer with us. And to my surprise, we came out victorious. The Climate Smart Technology program was about designing a product that could help to grow crops during the droughts and other climate changes season. This product was not only designed by the agricultural students, but also by the electrical, the industrial techniques, and all the other areas in our school. This product was used to produce strawberries. As you all know, strawberries cannot be grown in Jamaica because of the climate, so we have to grow it in a nice, warm, cool temperature, normal temperature that you would produce fruits. Designing this prototype takes like a lot of energy. It allows us not only to see that we can design things to help in the future, but how we can help to prevent some of these damage that climate change has caused. Now, when I look in this audience, I see a lot of potentials. I see students who can build multi-billion things that could help us to generate things to help Jamaica, not only Jamaica, but the entire world. I need you all to not only think about agriculture as a small farming area. I need you to think about the technology parts. I need you to think about how you can generate things, products, that can help not only our country, but help others to help to build their economics. I am a student who loves agriculture. I've been recently accepted at the College of Agricultural Science, and trust me, thank you. And I was supposed to enter last year so I could go to Egypt because I love agriculture. But since I've got the chance this year, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put all my energy in helping Jamaica and the other countries develop products that could help them building their economics. And I want to say thank you all for having me, and thank you all for empowering the youths in agriculture. Thank you.
Listen to me, young people. Me no wanna fenke clap for Tajik. Please put your hands together for her. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Young people who feel empowered enough to come up here and talk off script. How many of us as adults can even do that? She didn't use any script. She came up here and just spoke from the heart. And agriculture is also from the heart. So while we're moving from agri-heart to agri-smart, we have to, by the way, you can't live without your heart, eh? So the heart has to follow you while you're being agri-smart. Ain't that so? Isn't that so? All right, so we have that right. Put your hands together for Tajik once again.
Other TP Lekki among us, right? Right? Anybody want to be a scientist? Agriculture scientist? Come on, put up your hand. Remember, food is the most important thing, right? when you don't have to wear clothes or drive a car, you must do what? Must eat food. So thank you again for coming to our session. We have a plethora of experienced, knowledgeable panelists that are willing to share with you today, and we'll invite them, and at the end of their presentation, we'll invite questions from the audience. So we'll now welcome Dr. Ronald Blake, Executive Director of the Jamaica 4-H Clubs. Make him welcome.
I know it's a long day, and I think we are tempted to ask each speaker to speak for 5 minutes. It would really be unfair if all of us up here were to speak for 5 minutes, because I know you have far to go, and I know you all have already benefited from it. I'm supposed to talk to you about careers in agriculture, but I think Mr. Duki did an excellent job, and you answered the questions. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and then I go sit down. How often do you need to go to the doctor? Once a year. I agree with you. I'm healthy. I go every other year. How often do you need to see a lawyer? And once in a lifetime, and it's only for house conveyance. You're all good people. So once in a lifetime. And our lifetime is 75 years old in Jamaica. So once in every 75 years. And my final question, how often do you need to go see the farmer? Why? So would you agree with me that a very good place to have a career in agriculture, is in agriculture? Am I right? And there are many careers, as Mr. Duki said to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, for experience, we'll ask in this order. Ms. Charlene Edwards, then Mr. Edmond Lewis, Mr. Calvin Wees, and Ms. Ayana Creary to speak with you. After they have completed their presentation, we'll then invite questions from the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to tell you about some of the opportunities, the scholarship opportunities. Under the Youth in Agriculture program, the Jamaica 4-H Clubs offers a number of scholarships. We have the Youth in Agriculture Scholarship, which is offered round about, it comes out of the Demby Show, but it is offered to
to start from scratch. We will take what you have and we'll build on that into any of our programs. In particular, if for the sciences, chemistry in particular, if there's if there's someone who wants to enter but is not yet competent in chemistry, you can enter the program through the sciences, and once you have finished chemistry 112 and 113, you can move into the agricultural program. Here at NCU, there is a set standard for those who want to move on, or if you are transferring from anywhere. We would rather you have a grade exceeding C. That means if it's a C+, a B minus, a B plus, a A minus, a A going up. We'd rather you have something above C, because we consider that if you are not able to make a C, which is the average, we want persons who are above average, because the best of your performances, if you are to be an outstanding career persons, you cannot be the ordinary. You must be above ordinary. You must be extraordinary, because that in itself is one of the keys to advancement in your career and for success. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am here to speak to you in short about the requirements to enter the Hard Trust NTA, a training program at the Hard Trust NTA. Let me just make it clear that as you would be familiar with Hard Trust NTA, but as of last week, the name has been officially changed to the Hard NSTA Trust, and that NSTA stands for National Services and Training Agency. So in very short order, you'll see your advertisement informing persons of the name change. In order to access a training program at heart, there is no extravagant requirement. All that is required is for a candidate to have one CXC. One CXC is what you need to access a training program. If a person does not have a CXC, so for example, you would have stopped going to school at grade 9. We have a diagnostic test that is administered, and that diagnostic test is basic maths and English. Once that person passes that diagnostic test, they qualify to be trained within the Hard Trust system. At Ebony Park Hart, we offer a number of training programs in agriculture. We offer crop production, livestock rearing, general agriculture, agriculture extension services, agri-food processing, tractor operations and maintenance, butchery, and the list goes on. I want it also to be known that accessing a training program at heart, you don't have to consider any extravagant amount of money. For a training program that we offer at Ebony Park in agriculture, it lasts, a level 2 will last for 1 year or 15 months. All that is required for all our level 2 programs is an administrative fee of $3,000. That $3,000 covers all the costs associated with the program. Persons get accommodation, so you live on the compound, you get 3 meals a day, free Wi-Fi, and the list goes on. So at this time in Jamaica's agricultural sector, there is no person who can say, I am not trained, I am not certified because I cannot access a training program. Heart is there for you, and Heart has its arms open to accept persons who are willing. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am here to speak on the experience in accessing agriculture scholarship, education, and influence on career choice. Let me see the hands of those who like agriculture. So you just like it. All right, those who love agriculture. Love? All right, those who just do it because you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice? All right, let me see the active participants in the Jamaica 4-H Club. So it means that you're a part of a club, you do stuff in the club, you enter competitions. Hands, what competition do you do? Yes. Budding and grafting. Anybody else who have entered 4-H competition, plan on entering? Yes, Miss at the back. Pig care and management. Good. Well, for me, I have been a part of the Jamaica 4-H Club since 2013, where I entered the poultry care and management, 2014 goat care and management, and 2015 Girl of the Year. In 2016, also through having experience in the Jamaica 4-H clubs, I entered the National Farm Queen competition, where I came out third. Let me see the hands now of those who aspire for greatness, who work hard, but money is not available. Hands, you do well in school, you would like to pursue a career in agriculture, but you don't have any money? Just a few persons? Well, opportunities are there within the 4-H clubs. And I can attest to it because I am a 4-year recipient of the Rio Tinto scholarship that Ms. Edwards spoke about earlier on. I started getting a scholarship in 5th form at the Mayday High School. I moved on to Case, where I got it at Case for 3 years. Now, last year, November, I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science degree in Agricultural Education, and even before graduating, I became the instructor for the Tractor Operation and Maintenance Program at the Demby 4-H Training Center last year, June. So opportunities are here in the Jamaica 4-H clubs. All you have to do is grab the opportunities. And if you don't see any opportunities, you create your own. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Now, give her another round of applause, man. True testimony of what can be done if you believe. Are there any questions? Let me not ask if are there any questions. What are the questions? You must have questions. We have, yes. All right. He's the deputy manager for Ebony Park. You have a roving microphone? Okay.
May I just intervene and suggest that we use the microphone so the rest, all of us who are here can get the, all right, so come and use the microphone. And for the persons on the other side, there is a microphone in the aisle. Please make use of it.
I was just asking for the age group, the age limit for heart.
Okay.
So I can tell somebody else about it.
I should have mentioned that. Our minimum age requirement is 17 years old, and we take persons as old as you can get.
Yes.
Even you.
Right. 17 until. Right. So, and we talk about lifelong learning, right? So other persons can go. And I'm sure that you take persons from the workforce also. Right. So they are responsible also for training persons who are already in the workforce. Right. So if you want any upskilling, capacity building, our trust is there. Other questions? We have the executive director of 4-H, I'm sure any question that you have, you'll be able to answer. And we have the regional manager for Eastern Jamaica here. So persons who are interested in scholarships, knowing more about 4-H, we have NCU with a wide array of offerings in agriculture, sir. Wide array. So many persons they know of Case only, but NCU, they are offering programs in agriculture, and we are very, very proud of that. And I want to say something. Dr. Blake mentioned it a while ago, that you wanted to come in before? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Youngsters, I just want to share this with you, that there are 3 institutions in Jamaica that are seen as institutions that are most likely to get a job upon graduation. They are the Caribbean Maritime University, the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, and Edmund, the College of the Arts, the Visual and Performing Arts. I have examined the data, and it's very clear to me that it's not so much the institution, but persons who graduate from an agricultural program are most likely to get employment or to create their own employment upon graduation. So I want to say to you, if you are running an experiment in borrowing money to go to college, think carefully about opting for a career choice that is viable. It's viable. And if you're agriculture at heart, it is only smart that you look for a career in agriculture. Agriculture is one of those complex sciences, and that is why it is one of the few subjects in CSEC that has a double award syllabus. That is, when you sit the double award, it is equivalent to 2 science subjects. So if you want to come to NCU, and Mr. Edmond said it needs 5 CXC to matriculate into their degree programs. It means that if you have math, English, biology, and agricultural science, that's the 4th, you have 5 subjects, and you would be eligible to matriculate in one of their programs. I also want to just finally say to you that there are a number of institutions now offering agricultural education at the tertiary level. And Mr. Duki will tell you, when he and I were opting for agricultural education, there was only one tertiary agricultural institution in Jamaica. Today we have a suite of program at NCU, we have at Knox, we have at the Nakalva Polytechnic, and also at Montego Bay Community College, as well as the University of the West Indies. And I hear Bethlehem Teachers College is now offering tertiary training in agriculture. It means that the landscape is wide, and there's a range of courses that you can pursue. And remember now, when you are trained, you're not only trained for the local market, but you're training yourself for the world.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Blake, for that. Any other questions? Yes.
Good afternoon. You have summer courses for heart?
With the heart programs, there is really no holiday, if I might put it that way. We offer training right throughout the year. We also offer short courses. So if you are mentioning the summer, during the summer, when it's summer during the regular school system, we have a number of short courses that are taking place at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Very good question. We have what we call in our system stackable credentials, which is very important. In previous dispensations, what we had was persons had to go straight into a diploma or a bachelor's program. But what can happen is that you can start with a certificate and end up with a PhD. So no longer you have to be enrolled in a straight degree program. You can start with a level 1 at Ebony Park. Go right up, straight through, and to the PhD level. I know that you don't offer past the level 4, but you can, your credentials can be evaluated and it can be used in other jurisdictions and so on. And I know when they look at the framework in terms of the qualification and they look at matching it, what each level would mean. So students who are sometimes what we call, they are late starters for some. Some are just not ready for tertiary institution as yet. You can start with that and you can build your credentials up to a PhD level. And then you can be on top of the world at that level. And you know that at the PhD level is basically the highest level that you can go, apart from being a professor. Right? Any other question? All right, so I want to make a point. Dr. Blake was mentioning a while ago that...
Excuse me, sir?
Oh, yeah, right, good.
So, sir, earlier I heard you mentioning about the agricultural program for youths in 4-H clubs and stuff, sir. Do you have anything prepared to help us without subjects if we're interested in the agricultural field?
Okay, so the 4-H offers training opportunities to young people, and we have a variety of programs. At the club level, we offer training, so you get informal training in almost all the agri areas, because we do training in livestock, we do training in in crops, we do propagation. But we also have the REAP program, which is an entrepreneurial program, and it targets unattached young people, that is persons out there who are interested in agricultural or agricultural-related businesses. And if you are so interested, then those programs are there for you to tap into and to log on to.
Thank you.
All right, any other question? I just wanted to mention before I close that agricultural science at the CSEC and CAPE level, well, at the CSEC level, double award and single award, we are the best performing subjects among all subjects in the entire country. So it's something that, no man, you must can give it a better round of applause. Want to also mention that in the merit list, which is a regional list, the top 10, 5 of the top 10 in single award came from Jamaica. That thank you, man. 5 of the top 10 came from Jamaica. Remember, we're talking about all the other Caribbean countries now, you know. In the double award, the number 1 candidate came from Jamaica also. And I'll go a little bit further to say that all the top 10, all students in the top 10 in CAPE units 1 and 2 came from Jamaica. So we are very proud of that. And we will not take all the credit at the ministry for it. It's the hard work of the schools and also of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. We are very, very pleased to be partnering with the Jamaica 4-H clubs because they are in the schools from, is what, basic school or start or primary? From basic school right up. And almost when you go in all schools, you can see the 4-H club very, very visible. So it goes through from the basic school level, primary level, through to the tertiary level. And so we are very, very proud of what we have achieved. And agriculture can only get better. You agree? We only can grow and get better. Gone are the days when agriculture was seen as the little man in the country in a stand-up shirt with a machete and a water bowl. Don't. We have gone way past that. And we have gone to deep technology in agriculture. We have gone to greenhouse farming. We have gone to vertical agriculture, vertical hydroponics, where we're talking about instead of growing crops on large expanses of land, we're talking about stocking them in stories like apartments. We're talking about pigs in air-conditioned rooms, just at Ebony Park, yes. I went to Ebony Park and I couldn't get into the piggery unit because they said that I was too dirty. You imagine that day would have come, that me after me bathe properly and put on my nice clothes, and go in our piggery unit, then tell me that I am too dirty to go in the piggery unit. That is where we are now. Because food is most important. We don't have to visit the doctor. We don't have to visit the lawyer. But we must eat food. We must eat food. And I want to thank you. I want to thank our panelists for sharing with us today. I want to thank you for coming and engaging us. Thank you for the questions. And I'm hoping that you will have a very wonderful day and a safe journey home.
I want to thank the entire group that is up here. I was just commenting, put your hands together for them once again. If you see me looking as if I'm distracted, I'm not distracted. I'm just very excited to be meeting so many of the young people that I have conversation with on Farm Talk. Jermaine Ricketts from Redlands in Clarendon is sitting over there. He just came over to introduce himself. And I'm sure that Dr. Ronald Blake is feeling like the proud papa because that is one of the young people that they are associated with. But when I have these kinds of experiences, it tells me that there is something fantastic happening in agriculture in this country. And we are the ones who are going to have to encourage our young people to get involved in the sector. He's a beekeeper, and I'm learning so much. So, for example, he's telling me that he has to ensure that the bees are kept warm. Now, I never knew that you have to be concerned about keeping bees warm. You all knew that you had to keep bees warm? Don't answer. You should know, right? But the greater point that I'm making is that we have to get information into the hands of the young people. There are so many scholarships that are being given away through the Jamaica 4-H clubs and others that we need to encourage our young people to take up those scholarships. It is very, very encouraging to hear about those results that we're pulling at the CSEC level for agricultural science. And I was right to do the show that I'm doing because there are opportunities abound. I've been in broadcasting. This is my 30th year in broadcasting. I know I look 30, don't? It's my 30th year in broadcasting. And I have never, in the 30 years that I have been on radio, had a job that I've found more heartwarming, more engaging, more wonderful than Farm Talk that I'm hosting now on Power 106 FM. Because farmers are real. The issues they face are real. The challenges they face are real. But if they get it right, the money that they can make, it's also real. They can touch it and feel it and buy things with it and build houses out of it, send their children to university out of it. And all of this talk that we've been talking in this nation of ours about agriculture being the bedrock, we need to make sure that it is a working thing and not something that we continue to just talk about. Farmers' shoes mustn't beg bread. No farmer must wear boots, wear beg bread, because the sector has the ability to ensure that our farmers wear good clothes, eat good food, drive good car. I once got a question from a farmer who said, Miss Althea, so them don't know, say we want to drive SUV too. And it is the truth. They are the ones who are going out into the fields and they're the ones who are doing all of the hard work. And so they actually should be getting the fruits of their labor. They should be able to rest their head well at night knowing that all of their needs are taken care of by this that God has blessed them with. And so I really want to encourage you as we leave here today to go back into the different communities and the schools and the organizations from which you come, equipped with the knowledge of what has come out of this forum, this symposium that has been pulled together for the young people today. Take the information back into the classrooms. Teachers, I challenge you. You see Ms. Thompson from Homewood Technical High School, who I'm looking at now, she was challenged today by the student from Guyswood High School who told her, listen, so we know that the challenges are there. We don't have money. Start small. They started by selling coconut water, and they were able to win the Climate Smart competition at last year's Denby. So there are opportunities out there for us to do amazing work in agriculture. If I were younger, and I shouldn't even say that because I think you can get into agriculture at any age. But if I were younger, I likely would have studied agriculture. It's not too late for me to do it. But then since the only other place that I have to go is to a PhD, I don't want to have to start again. You think I can just tack it on, Doc? Doc says yes. Doc says yes. But it is important for us to empower our young people to understand that it's not just doctors and lawyers and teachers that we need, but the society needs agriculturalists and farmers and agricultural journalists and persons who are willing to go out in the trenches and push agriculture forward. Yes? I just met Mr. Price from the ministry as well. He's a numbers man. Yeah? So we have agricultural economists. There are roles there for everyone in the agricultural sector. And so I'm challenging the teachers to have the conversation with the young people, engage them. I'm chatting this much because I'm hoping that we can get some of the other young people back in here before we have to wrap up. Doc, are we going to wrap with some more of them, or we just wrap? All right, so my understanding is that those young people who are bussed in from some of the further parishes, they have already left, and with good reason, because tomorrow is a school day. They're not on holiday. This is not summer. So they have gone, especially those that are from the West. They have already left. But Doc, I don't know if you want to say something before I just wrap up here. Doc says I'm to say it for him. So let me see what Doc would say. How can I say thanks for the things you have done for us? Things so undeserved, yet you did to prove your love for us. Does that work, sir? I tell you. So Doc says I got it right. But I really want to thank you all for coming out in such large numbers. I know those of you who are left in here, trust me, when I walked in here today, I was shocked. I have never played to a bigger audience except on radio. I have never seen so many students gathered in one place that I could have a conversation with. And I think it is something that we need to embrace. This is a wonderful idea from the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Of course, they all know that I will come to them with the ideas as to how it is that we can improve on what we did this year. But I look forward to being back next year and for us taking the lessons that we learned from this year into next year. How many persons were in here when we had, can't remember her name now, the student from Guys Hill? Very impressive young woman. Very, very impressive. Unscripted, but she knows what she wants. I am going to the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. I am going to do well in agriculture. I will continue to do that. That is the contribution she wants to make. And she says that she sees in the students in this room potential that is equal to billions of dollars. Now, if she is a young person and can see that, our job as adults is really just to support those dreams. And so that is what I want to leave with you today. Support the dreams of the young people. We thank all of the panelists from all of the discussions. And hopefully, I don't know, Carol, what the plan is to pull the information that has come out of this together and put it out in some kind of document that can be shared with the schools so that the young people can have the information at hand. So we say a very big thank you to Northern Caribbean University for hosting this, the first annual symposium, the National Youth in Agriculture Symposium. And I hear that changes are coming for next year because they've taken the notes. They have done the evaluation, or the evaluation will be done later on. And so things will be different. But the lessons that have been learned here today are going to be very valuable in determining the way forward for agriculture. And just one final note. Please join me tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Farm Talk on Power 106 FM. The numbers to call, 876-922-4112 through 5. Have a great evening.